Okay, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Meeting of the Wahoo City Council, September 23rd, 7 o'clock p.m. Open Meetings Act is posted on the wall. All meeting to order. Roll call.
Stuart Creachy.
Here.
Shane Sweet.
Here.
Carl Wolford.
Here.
Ryan Diaz.
Here.
Chris Grapple.
Here.
Patrick Nagel.
Okay, there is no one in the audience, so we will move forward. Department head report.
I'll just sit here. I don't have much to report. I just wanted to let you know we have had some conversations with a property owner out on Continental Estates Road about the condition of the road. We are working with JEO to evaluate a permanent fix for that situation. I don't know if any of you got.
We have a guess on who that is.
Sure. You want to? What? And there's been a very positive conversation between the street department and the property owner. We're working with Steve Parr to get some information, and so I think that we're going to see a resolution to that hopefully. So I will wait to update you on Wahoo Super project until it's on the agenda.
Okay. Second item, the department head reports. I want to report a little bit on the amphitheater project. It's not a responsibility for the city, but the NRD has asked the city to be involved with the permitting and the construction of it to make sure it, according to building specs, that's provided will be provided by Jeff Buckmaster, their construction. So he'll examine those first, and then actually the NRD can build whatever they want, but they've asked for us to be participants. We started out with the project on the west side. Here's an actual picture. Over here on the west side, it was going to go up in this area here, right below this tree belt right there. Go that way. We had our information meetings, picked up a lot of information there. Some concerns with the public. It doesn't show it here, but the public has built up out in this area since this was built, and not in my backyard type thing. Some of it was resolved when they got a little bit more information, but we did the next day after that go into some discussion about the location of the amphitheater itself. So we're looking at now going, I'll pass this around, going to the east side. On this map, the east side, it will be in the peninsula that goes up to where the War Farm was and the grave site there. It's had to be protected. So it's being looked at, which will be north of the education building, and we'll have selected an outside committee to do that. This solves a lot of the concerns. There's not the population on the east side. The traffic is a concern of ours. The east side will adapt to that a lot better because we got the roundabout for the traffic control. Plus, people can go out on the highway and go north, where the other side is go out on gravel. So there's a benefit that way. It also will involve more of the city utilities. Or on the other side, it was strictly private utilities. Water was out there and hook up to bring gas out to it. Here on the east side, we've already got utilities and sewer out to the dump station. We've got electricity out there to the building, the education building, and the campground area on the east side. So there's a lot of advantages that way. We have a meeting set up October 1st for our committee. 2nd will be, the operations committee of the NRD. That morning, it goes to the exec board or exec committee at 11 o'clock that morning. And that's be the last meeting before the board meeting. We'll see where we're at as far as moving forward. That night, I'll ask to be on the planning and zoning committee to bring the planning and zoning committee up to date. So we get as much open transparency as we can get. Again, this project is totally funded by the donor, and he's been informed as we've gone along. Ryan Savaka is chairman of the board, and he's selected this committee. I don't know if Lonnie Hanson will be included in next Wednesday night. It'll probably be included in our Thursday meeting. So, the preference from his standpoint is to be on Lake Wahoo.
Do you know if the NRD would consider another public information meeting or not? They did gain a lot of information from the last one, and in fact, that helped actually change location, but I didn't know what NRD wants to do.
Yeah.
And this looks very nice,
Yeah.
so I didn't know.
Some of them attended the board meeting.
Okay.
We talked about these, so, and that was favorable to a lot of them, I think.
I would think so.
For sure where the board is on it, I think if we get everything else, keep moving like it is, I believe it will be supported by the majority. Maybe not everyone, but, that's about all I have. Is there any questions, comments? Okay, let's go to the consent agenda. Any questions there?
Claims are, there we go. Yeah. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second. Questions? Roll call.
Creachy,
Yes.
Ideas?
Yes.
Grapple,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Warford.
Yes.
Okay, public hearings, there's none. Action items not requiring public hearing. The first one is approval of the 2025-26 fiscal budget.
We did hold a public hearing, and just for any members of the public that are joining, on Saunders County Online, there is information on the city's budget on the main page of the city's website, wahoo.ne.us. Under the heading City of Wahoo Budget 2025-26, all the information that was presented in the public hearing is shared on that site for access. So, with that, if there's any other questions about the budget, I will certainly try to answer them. Again, it would be a motion to approve the budget if you're so inclined, and then another motion to set the property tax rate at the .507838.
Make a motion to approve the budget as discussed in the prior hearing.
Second.
Okay, questions? Roll call.
Warford,
Yes.
Creachy,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Ideas?
Yes.
Grapple,
Yes.
And then a resolution to set the 25 tax levy rate.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Roll call.
Warford,
Yes.
Creachy,
Yes.
Ideas?
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Grapple.
Yes.
Number 3, approval.
I just want to make one comment again, if there's anyone that's listening online, that property tax rate is the same rate that was proposed on the pink postcard hearing that you received in the mail, so there's no change from that.
I refer to that. Okay. Number 3, approval of ordinance number 2487 to amend ordinance number 2443 to authorize an increase in the amount borrowed on the SRF loan agreement between Nebraska Department of Water, Energy and Environment and the City of Wahoo for the lead line service replacement project in the amount of $1,300,000. money we were awarded.
Right, so Brian sent me a summary, he's at a child football game tonight, so, here's the rundown. It is a $1.3 million loan on top of the original $5.7 million for a total of $7 million. It is to replace approximately 130 water services throughout Wahoo, both city and customer-owned side. It is mostly galvanized, requiring replacement water lines as defined by EPA and a few lead service lines. So they did this survey this last summer and it was determined there are about 130 of them that need to be upgraded. It is a 0% interest, 30-year loan with 38% loan forgiveness. And they are planning to do the replacement of the lines with Wahoo utility staff, hoping to do much of this for less than the approved amount. So this has gone through Mike Rogers, who drafted the bond, the amendment, the bond ordinance. So he'll be giving a attorney's opinion that's needed to be able to sign the loan documents. So everything is gone through the proper channels for review.
So we're amending what? We're amending the dollar amount upwards?
Yes,
From 7 to 7.2 or something like that?
from 5.7 to 7.
Okay, 7.
This was money that the MUD that we were awarded in April of last year.
No, this is state revolving fund money for water and wastewater projects. That grant was for natural gas.
Oh, okay. Same dollar amount.
Yes.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said it's already gone through board utility.
Yeah, you said,
Yeah.
yes. We'll talk about it a lot.
And,
So-
and I think probably, Melissa mentioned it, I think the good thing to point out is it's, the work is gonna be completed by water utility staff. And he's suggesting that out of 1.3, but it's very likely that much won't be needed. And with the high percentage of loan forgiveness, it makes it
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah. What's the time frame?
And 0% interest.
And,
0%. So staff can complete this within calendar year?
and it sounds like it's gonna be at least a year project, in between other projects. But the feeling is having local community,
Yeah, local guys do.
local guys doing work in the local committee, so.
I think it's gonna be a couple of year
Couple
project,
years,
just
there you
based on the number that they have, but I think there's a period of time to meet the compliance requirement from EPA.
As long as we can keep this intact, that's good.
But understanding this is a voluntary process as it relates to the improvements to on the private property, right? So there's an application process, waivers, all that has to happen before or in advance of actually any shovels in the ground.
And that's with each individual property.
So there's.
I don't know why a property owner would say, sorry, I don't want you to come and do this, because
Right.
you're getting a new service line at no cost.
Yeah.
You got people?
Yeah, it probably won't be 100% successful.
They'll say, being torn up again.
But I think that's the reason why they're doing with local staff, because
Yeah.
Ryan
care.
wants to be particular about, having local people in people's basements doing this work, our own local staff restoring
Maybe a lot.
yards to their original condition, et cetera.
As an ordinance, does this need to be introduced to all Jazz, or is this just because it's an amendment? Not so much.
Because it's an amendment, it needs to be approved as such.
You introduce the.
Yeah, it's an ordinance.
Still an
and-
ordinance.
Yeah.
Move to introduce. I'll second.
Your action to wait.
Move to waive the 3 reading. I'll second.
We're moving on. Any questions? Roll call.
Warford,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Krejci,
Yes.
Grapple,
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
Okay, final reading.
One second. Okay,
Roll call on final reading.
Warford,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Krejci,
Yes.
Grapple,
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
Update on Kenny Campus South Hall as requested by Mary Daly. She's not here, so I'm not.
And we don't have any information to share at this point. Mike has sent me photos, and Travis has confirmed that he is getting very close to having those units completed in the South Hall. So,
I did, go up there today, Mike was not there, but I talked to one of the workers, introduced myself, he was come on in. So I did walk through main floor, I didn't go into every one of the apartments, but they're probably all about the same status. Cupboards are in, the walls look like they're probably ready for primer, they're putting on mock boards, and, like I say, I didn't go up on third floor or the basement, but, they are moving forward, for sure. Or the building itself. Okay, number 5, update on Wahoo Super.
So, a couple weeks ago, Jovan and I had a meeting in Jovan's office with Mike Sullivan, and I think, from my point of view, it seemed like a very productive meeting. Mike has submitted a full plan set for a building permit for his Wahoo Super project. He has downsized the project. It is no longer a single building, it's 2 buildings. So instead of being an L-shaped building, it's 2 buildings, which means that he doesn't have to do the utility relocation work that he, with his original project, had included. It is downsized to 3 stories instead of 4. It includes 5 commercial bays of 1,000 square foot, and I think the way the plans have that listed out is unfinished, so that if a company came in and wanted 2 bays, they could have 2 bays. All of his parking is contained on site, so there is not the need for him to have the east side of the property and the south side of the property the parking in those locations to fulfill his parking requirement on site. So, and we have over the past month had conversations with their infrastructure engineers, with Ryan's working on providing them a electric connection fee, the development fee. So we can see that there is progress in this project moving forward. And I know Mike is anxious. I think he kind of wants to start this fall. Conversation that we had in Jovan's office, though, was focused a lot around TIF, and I think if you are supportive, it makes sense for us to be a participant in this project, at least from my standpoint. We take on paying for a portion of the parking stalls on the east side of the project and the south side of the project. Now, when Mike submitted his updated numbers, he is not asking for the full value of TIF. He wants to keep his numbers conservative, which means that there's a piece of that, about $250,000 that's left that we could recapture to help pay for some of those improvements. He is not interested in taking on the construction of those improvements. He said from a cash flow standpoint, that's not something that he wants to add into his project. So I guess I'm not asking for any kind of decision, but generally speaking, would you be in favor of that concept as a council and moving forward? I think it's easy for me to argue that there is a benefit to his project for having those parking stalls put in and putting in downtown street lighting around the project. There's also a benefit to the entire community from having those parking stalls installed. That's my opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
How are we gonna regulate that his residents aren't utilizing all those parking spots to begin with?
Well, currently we have no off-street no parking downtown, and so
Currently,
being
it's
managed.
also not being enforced very much either.
Understand that.
Well, this project eliminates a lot of free parking that's been on that property.
Yes,
for a long
that's where my
time.
mind goes.
Publicly, I think it's a good move.
No, it's not, and I'm not saying it's not a
right.
good move. I'm saying, we pay to have those parking spots redone, right? And as are the city's lots, what's gonna stop?
Right, and
Yes, and
I guess,
residents, you know, guests and stuff like that from occupying those spots.
Yeah, I think it will be used by the apartment guests, and occupants. I also think it will be used by public in general as well. So I do like the idea, but I don't know if you
I
can
think
regulate that.
right, and I think that issue of how those stalls are used or whether they can be overnight parking is a little bit, is separate from this
No, I'm
conversation, but I agree it is something that
Forward thinking is what I'm trying to say.
if we want to, let's say we are successful in our downtown revitalization or application, we walk through that process and we find out the only way that we can turn second story lit buildings, existing buildings into housing solutions is if we address this parking conversation, right? So I think it is something that we're gonna have to figure out a solution to, but I don't want that to make this conversation messy.
So your comments are we have room in the ability to TIF the project. We could have some of the cost of public parking included in that TIF project then? Or help me understand
So this would be a lot like, we would be able to recapture the revenue once the project's completed
yes.
to repay ourselves for installing those parking
Yes,
stalls.
because it'd be a lot simpler to get it all done at one time if the project was being.
Right, so we did something similar out at Omaha Steel.
Yeah.
So Omaha Steel, we paid and issued bonds to install the water in 12th Street. And when the TIF revenue comes in, it's split. Omaha Steel gets a piece of it, we get a piece of it, we use that piece to cover our debt service requirement.
Okay.
And that is easier to support because that's a benefit to all of the public, right? Parking stalls are.
There's really two decisions. One is, are you supportive of the lighting in the south and east side parking issue as being a public project? And two, are you willing to front end the obligation because Mike doesn't want to carry it until the reimbursement? He wants it to be you reimbursing yourself, in effect.
To me, yeah, just makes sense. It makes sense to have parking and opportunity to have to.
I like the idea of parking. That's topic has come up enough.
Many things.
As he pointed out, we're about to lose all of that place that people are parking right now. We're gonna have to have somewhere to go, add in spaces. It's just a smart thing to do.
I think this is gonna be part of what we need to look at.
Right, it's not gonna be the end all be all, but when we have an opportunity to do it while it's all under construction, it's not gonna matter.
Yeah, I mean, as much frustration as we've had, Mike has been very generous with allowing the usage of those spots without, charging $20 a month or whatever. I mean, there's a little bit of a revenue stream you could have had there that he's been nice to us.
I feel.
Now, it's probably cut the weeds down and stuff, right?
So you said you didn't necessarily want or need a motion tonight, but I think you've got the general.
No, I think I
feeling.
do, right. I have, again, talked with Steve Parr to see if he could put together a rough opinion of cost for just the parking, not street improvements, because one could argue we could take it as far as removing the whole street and replacing it, and I don't want to include that into this calculation of this conversation, because I think it just makes it messy, right? So I've asked for an opinion of cost on those parking stalls, and I get that, then we would move forward with, we've worked with the attorney, and they are agreeable to an amendment to our redevelopment agreement that we have, even though we have declared it null and void because of the missed deadline. His support of that was that we are downsizing this project and we are impacting the public less with it. It's still in the same spirit of, this is still the same project, just downsized. So.
Okay, we'll move on to number 6. Approval of solid waste haulers annual renewal applications for Waste Connections, Roadrunner, and S2 roll-offs.
You just have one? Waste Connections. Waste Connections.
Just have
So we talked about this in the office. I think if you're willing, an action would be to look at and consider approving the one that you have. And if you're inclined, offer an extension to October 15th to the other two to give them the time to turn them in.
I'm guessing they just forgot, or?
It's partially on me. It got out later than I had hoped to get it to them and, yeah, but it got sent out after the first of October.
Do you know what percentage Waste Connection does compared to the other two as far as area or housing?
I don't know specifically. I could find that out if that's something you're
No big
interested
deal,
in.
I just wanted,
I think,
they felt maybe it's not enough to.
well, I think Roadrunner does the most. I think Waste Connections is second, but they're probably very close to each other. And then S2 is a significantly less portion. Did you
I know they're gonna operate over the next month, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Whatever we
guess-
can do, whatever we gotta do to keep
Yeah.
things rolling,
Yeah.
smoothly, and whatever we have to do. Feel like it's moving out of the.
Is there any reason not to?
Right.
We could just blanket it out.
I would make the motion to approve Waste Connections and extend the renewal application for Roadrunner S2 to October 15th.
One other point before you take a vote, and we were going through the receipts and working on budget and we discovered S2 has not paid occupation tax for 3 years, 2 years?
It was January of 22.
Yes.
So.
So- They have paid it. We reached out to them and they were, how are we supposed to know we're supposed to pay this? And you've applied every year and it says that you have to comply with the city's regulations.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that might have changed an opinion. Yeah, so.
They have paid their amount in full. We have received the check. It is cleared. Now we're just waiting on their application for 25, 26.
So your motion is to approve Waste Connections with a letter going out reminding bids.
Or just extending.
Whatever we gotta do to get that in here, because we
Whatever
don't need
the best way.
For October 15th? Till
That's it.
October 15th?
Okay, that's a good date.
Is that enough? I mean, how long does it take these guys to do, is that, how much notice do they normally get?
I usually send it out the middle of September or the middle of August, and they have it by this meeting. So usually about a month. And what I do is I send them last year's application and say if anything's changed, let me know. If not, sign it off and send it back.
And it's not like it's annual, so it's not unexpected, they get it every year. Yeah.
Every
Just wanna
year.
make sure that we have time to get them.
I'll second that one.
I don't have to extend it again because we just need to get it in.
I can reach out to them as well and remind them.
We can't just be like, well, you guys can do this.
That sounds good.
Motion and a second?
Yeah.
Stewart was the
Okay,
second.
Stewart.
Got
Okay, roll call.
Ideas?
Yes.
Creachy?
Yes.
Rappel?
Yes.
Sweet?
Yes.
Warford?
Yes.
Number 7, approval of cost of living adjustment for full-time city of Wahoo and Wahoo Utilities employees for 2.7% for the 24-25 fiscal year, based on.
It should be 25, 26,
Oh, okay.
and to be effective October 1.
Okay. I was gonna say we're a year behind, so we'll do somehow.
This was included in the budget.
And this follows a very steady number. We've done a little more sometimes, a little less sometimes, but it follows CPI.
And I have heard from
Close as we can and keep up.
my peers in city administrators, and they're anywhere from 2.5. The majority of them are at the 2.5 to 3. There's a couple that are at 3.5. One's at 4. So we're right where we should be.
Motion to approve.
Questions, roll call.
Creachy?
Yes.
Sweet?
Yes.
Warford?
Yes.
Rappel?
Yes.
Ideas?
Yes.
Number 8, approval of annual certification of program compliance for street superintendents.
This is just the certification that you're saying, yes, Joe is doing a good job.
Motion to approve.
Okay. 2 motions, so Same motion. Roll call.
Sweet,
Yes.
Warford,
Yes.
Grapple,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Creechy.
Yes.
Okay, mayor's comments, did Ryan talk to you about using his license
Yes.
at Ashland? He called me and I said, as long as the board approves it, Ashland lost 2 of their operators that had licenses.
Licenses to do what? Driver's license?
Wastewater.
Oh, wastewater license.
Yeah. And so he's loaning,
So we got people on loan then?
it's on loan for
Wow.
a month or 2 till they get something covered. And
We're okay keeping it up.
I mean, I assume I was.
It's not an action item, it's
Yeah, in his wording was that it would not interfere with his day-to-day job here. It's mostly operating underneath his license until he gets somebody.
So that, because it's sort of helping Ashland, do they have us hold harmless or something, or are we enforce that?
Didn't we set him up, is this Ryan's license? that's
This is
being-
Brian, this is.
Didn't we set him up with, like, basically make an agreement at one point that he could be a consultant and do this kind of thing for other places?
Yeah,
without
so
having anything
he's
that
not
has to
doing
do
this-
with us?
He's a consultant.
He's not doing this as Wahoo.
He's doing it as his own,
It's
it just
not-
says we were allowing him to do that, I remember that coming through
Yes.
earlier this year at some point, so.
I have one other thing I wanna call your attention to. I don't know if you have followed any of the budget cuts that are happening or proposed cuts at the university. But one of the programs that is slated to be cut is the, community and regional planning, department. And I just want to, so you understand the things that program has produced for us, whether directly or indirectly. We have worked with students from that program that come out and help us with projects. Staff members of JEO went through that program. Staff members of Olson that we've used have went through that program. Our comprehensive plan, our subdivision regulations, our design standards, our hazard mitigation plans, our blight substandard studies, our housing studies, downtown revitalization studies, like our park and rec master plans, our redevelopment plans, all of those have been produced by people who have come through that program in some fashion or the other, whether it's a bachelor's degree, whether it's a master's degree, they have certification. And if that program is cut, we, municipalities are not gonna feel it immediately, but we are going to feel it, because we're going to have to go outside of Nebraska to find firms that have planning people on staff. JO already doesn't do comprehensive plans, so we are looking elsewhere.
There'll be other companies like sales and stuff like that that would hire people from those other programs. I mean, I'm not saying this is a good thing, that this being cut, but
No, I'm just saying, we are going to struggle 5 years down the road finding people to help us do these things, to do the hazard mitigation plan. And some of these we are obligated to do by statute. We have to do them by statute. If we're going to control subdivisions, we have to have a comprehensive plan. If we're going to do TIF, we have to have a blight and substandard plan. If we want to access FEMA money, we have to have a hazard mitigation plan. So I'm just saying some of those things, this is a resource that I feel like needs to be saved, but I'm just calling it to your attention if you hear saying that.
I think the problem also is you're seeing the big firms, the Olsons, the HCR, the JOs get out of that practice because they can't bill at engineering rates. They're billing at lower rates, so overhead to cost, it isn't worth it.
Yeah.
Right, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, and so it ends up being these boutique firms with a handful of places that do this solely, and they often come through programs like that. And so if they stop doing it, then who's gonna be around?
anything else? Meeting adjourned.
What's
Have you heard anything else?
That's commercial politics.
No.
sure anything then I feel like that's our new way of life. If we just keep doing
I'm
stupid
curious,
things.
have you talked to?
You hit it?
Our benefactors?
Say whatever you want to know.
This whole thing isn't discouraged by all the negativity.
Doesn't like the controversy.
Yeah, that's what I don't like.
Intelligence has taken a hit lately.
Yeah, I just think it could have been done, to criticize the litigation without the thought of the points.
Well, I think so.
Oh, yeah.
The massive, like, picture they have for people who sit around.
Shane, can you stop it?